So, for today's fan segment, we're going to be shining a light on a very special organization, Operation Delta Dog.
In today's episode, we saw Nicky still struggling to find his footing as a veteran, haunted by his past. Kevin tries to help by getting him connected with a local facility, but as we saw, it's not always that simple.
That is why we are so honored to be joined by Larry Myers, a representative and volunteer for Operation Delta Dog, an organization that rescues homeless dogs and trains them to become service dogs for military veterans living with PTSD. Let's bring him on right now. Mr. Myers.
Hello.
How are you?
Hey.
This is called a fan segment, and obviously we're here to talk about an organization that you work with. But I am a rather big fan of your appearances on the Family Trips podcast.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I record very carefully all of the insults every year. And
I hope so.
When we get together once a year, when we go to Pittsburgh for a Steeler game, we have a session where we all sit together and rebut
and
all
you
of the vicious
address
things
all
that
of
they've
them?
said about us.
Good.
Everything, yeah.
Good.
This is
For anyone who
fantastic.
doesn't know, Larry is the father of Seth Myers and Josh Myers, who have the podcast Family Trips, and they're brutal on you sometimes, sir. And I'm glad that you get your moment to rebut.
They are. I gave them a lot of material. So
It is hysterical because as I see it, I was like, of course, you're Seth's dad. You guys look exactly alike. It's hysterical.
Yeah. But we're here to talk about this organization that you volunteer with called Operation Delta Dog.
Yeah.
Can you tell us and our listeners a little bit about it?
I will, and I'm happy to do that. But before I talk about that, I just want to talk about PTSD, which was what this episode was about on the show. How big of a problem it is today. And then I'll get into what Operation Delta Dog does. But if you look in the United States, the rate of suicides is about 14 per 100,000 people. If you look at the same population of veterans, it's 5 times that.
Jeez.
It's over 36 per 100,000 people. So this problem with PTSD is fairly serious. And not only is it serious for people that are under 49 years old, about 35% of veteran suicides are people that are under 35 years old, which is 49, I'm sorry, which is what I thought was going to be the issue. People from Afghanistan, Iraq, those were veterans. But 2/3 of the suicides are people over 49 years old. So this problem spans generations, and it can linger for a very long time. So Operation Delta Dog up here in New Hampshire started a few years ago, and what they do is they rescue dogs from kill shelters in the South, and they bring those dogs up to New Hampshire, and then they pair them with veterans with PTSD. And it's an 18-month program in which the veteran is carefully paired with a dog so that it takes into account the veteran's living situation. Do they have a yard? Do they have kids? Do they have a family, an apartment? And then there's a sort of a matching process where they have the capacity right now to have about 10 kenneled dogs at the facility right now, where the veteran and the dog actually bond. And because it's the bond between the veteran and the dog that is what the therapeutic part of the service dog program is for vets with PTSD. Sure. And I should also add that some of the people in the program suffer from traumatic brain injuries and also military sexual assault. So we have there's not only men in the program, but there are women in this program as well. And it's a twice a week, 18-month program. Initially, the dogs stay at the facility. Eventually, of course, they go home with the veterans. The veterans come to class twice a week, and they bond with these dogs. And the program has been tremendously successful. Over 100 people have been through it. Wow. All of those people are still with us. We get about 2 calls a day from veterans that are interested in the program, and they definitely self-select. And very often these veterans have already tried they've tried medication, they've tried counseling, and very often this could be the last time that the last chance that they have to get some relief. What's interesting about the program, I got involved just because I was invited to a fundraiser, because I know what PTSD was, but I didn't wake up every day thinking about it.
Sure.
There's a lot of things I know Seth is up here a couple times a year. Not every couple of years, we raise money for child abuse programs in the state. And that's another thing you don't wake up every day thinking about. It's there, but it's something that you really don't want to look at. But when I was invited to this fundraiser and I saw these veterans, it was in a crowded country club. There was about 14 veterans. They all had dogs. The dogs all had vests. And then a gentleman got up to speak who was my age. He was in his 70s. And I couldn't, at the time, I couldn't understand how could somebody that's a Vietnam vet have suffered for 50 years with PTSD. And then they showed a photograph of his son who was killed in Afghanistan, who was a soldier. And this triggered everything in this gentleman. And then he realized that all of the anger and all the anxiety and everything that he had gone through for so many years, that he suffered from PTSD as well.
Yeah.
And then he reached out to the program because he's got a young dog, a couple years old. And he's able to live a much more normal life. And some of these folks that suffer with PTSD, they have a great deal of time connecting with people. They have difficulty being out in public. And something about the dogs and the veterans bonding together changes that. I'm not 100% sure why.
Yeah.
Do any of you have dogs?
We all have dogs.
Yeah, we all have dogs.
Okay. So you know how you feel about your dog.
Yes.
Right? So I have a theory. This is the Larry theory, is that while you have other people in your life that love you, like I have a wife, I have children, I have grandchildren, I have friends, and all those people might love me, but they don't love me all the time. Not 100% of the time. You've heard my kids' podcast, so you can imagine that people don't love me 100% of the time. But my dog loves me all the time.
Oh, yeah.
No matter what. It's unconditional love. And I think part of the bond between a dog and a veteran, even a veteran who may have a family and children and friends, and that it's completely different.
Yeah.
Because these dogs that we work with are rescue dogs, all of these dogs come from kill shelters. Mm-hmm. These dogs would be euthanized if we didn't bring them up here to New Hampshire. And I think there's something, because the veteran, let's say a veteran who's in combat, he's watching his buddy's back, the buddy's watching his back. Because the veteran knows they saved the dog, they let the dog save them.
Mm-hmm.
And part of the symptoms, because when you look in your episode, the veteran that had PTSD, it was obvious.
Yeah.
He lived in a trailer. He was only comfortable there. He didn't like to be around other people. He had no relationship with his family. And there are veterans that are that isolated. Yeah. And physically, he looked like he might be a guy with PTSD.
Yeah.
But that's not the norm. It is certainly one way that a PTSD veteran
can
might
present.
Sure.
Yeah.
But some of these people look hale and hearty.
Right.
And completely healthy. But the program works, I think, for a couple reasons. One, it reduces anxiety. A lot of these veterans will have night terrors. They're very anxious out in public. They don't like people being too close to them. They don't like to be approached from the rear. They don't like to go into a room that they haven't been in before. And the dog helps reduce all of that stress and all of that anxiety. One veteran told me, and again, this guy looks like a full-blown warrior, that he gets night terrors and his dog gets up and lays on his chest. And this is the thing that takes away the anxiety and allows him to go back to sleep.
There's training for the dogs, or is this just a human being and an animal bonding with one another?
No, it's a twice a week for 18-month program. That they're training the dog and the veteran as a team.
Okay.
They're training them as a team. So it's not like they take the dog away and they teach it certain behaviors or whatever. This is when they match the dog with the veteran, it's a careful process. And sometime you'll see a dog come out and they'll be in a class and the dog will be with the veteran. And sometimes you can just see the dog and the veteran bond. Visually, you don't have to know anything about PTSD or veterans or anything, but you say, oh, look, these guys love one another. I don't know why, but it happens that way. And they train them not just at the facility, but they train them out in the community. They go to malls, they go to restaurants, they go to movie theaters. They go everywhere that the veteran might have to go that they can that they would want to take their service dog. I can't tell you how many of these veterans have said that I couldn't go to a grocery store.
Right.
Now, the thing about PTSD, as a person who doesn't have PTSD, is you sympathize with it, but it's hard to empathize with. You can't understand. What do you mean you couldn't go to a grocery store? Yeah. What do you mean? It's something that's hard because it's just hard to understand if you don't have it. So what these dogs do is they allow people to get back out into society, to interact with other people. Plus the dog, even though he's wearing a vest and you're not supposed to pet the dog's an icebreaker, if you will. People, oh, look how cute your dog is. Isn't that nice? So forth and so on. It allows people to have a better interaction with the community as a whole. And there's also the trust. Because a lot of the problem is there's not a lot of trust. Whatever these people have gone through, and you, in this program, and I'm sure, and there are others, by the way, and this isn't the only program in the country, but there are other programs out there, and where a veteran, might be able to get help. But the fact is, in each case, each veteran situation is different. But the fact that the dog works, who cares why it works?
Sure, exactly.
It just works.
Yeah.
It just works. So for me, it's been very rewarding. I started out just going down and walking dogs. And then I decided to get on the board. And there's this is a small group of people. There's 13 people that work there. They're all women. And there's 4 trainers, there's a veteran coordinator, an executive director, some kennel staff, a development person, because all of this is funded 100% by donations from companies and individuals in the community and grants.
Wow.
And this program is 100% free to the veterans under the theory that a veteran with PTSD, traumatic brain injury, or military sexual trauma, they've already given enough.
Yeah.
There are other programs that can cost a veteran from anywhere from $20,000 to $50,000. And there are other programs that are free. And these programs tend to be regional, maybe very local. And they're not available everywhere. And one would hope that the Veterans Administration would provide funding for this. And there is a piece of legislation called the PAWS Act, P-A-W-S, that was passed a few years ago with the goal of providing up to $20,000 or $25,000 to groups such as Operation Delta Dog to train animals as service dogs for veterans with PTSD. But it's only in a pilot stage right now, and whether it's going to receive full funding or not in the current budget crisis and so forth and so on, I don't know. So up here we just press on, and I spend a lot of my time trying to raise funds for the group, so that the trainers and whatnot that deal with the veterans on a day-to-day basis can do their job, and it's very rewarding. So I think there are, just to give you an idea, to bring a dog from the South up to New Hampshire costs $6,000.
Wow.
And that's for transportation, veterinary care that might be necessary, and sometimes there is veterinary care, getting certification by the state. Every one of those dogs doesn't make it as a service dog. Some of those dogs just aren't, they're just not gonna, one thing they have to be is food motivated, because they're all hand fed.
Right.
They don't get two bowls of food, one in the morning and one at night. The trainers have a pouch with food, and the veteran does too. And every time the dog performs some function that they're asked to do, they're fed by hand. They get the same amount of food they would get if you put it in a dish.
Yeah.
They have to be food motivated as one thing. They just have to want to do it. So the dogs that don't make it still cost $6,000,
Right.
but then they're adopted out. And overall, on average, in all of these programs around the country, it's about $30,000 to $35,000 to get a fully functioning service dog to a veteran.
Yeah.
Wow. How many different places is Operation Delta Dog operating?
This is one.
New
Right now,
Hampshire.
one. It's
Okay.
very local in southern New Hampshire. There's some of the veterans that are within, say, a 90-minute drive from the location, which is in a town called Holysz, New Hampshire. They're from northern Massachusetts. But the reason that we have that 90-minute limitation is because they have to come to class.
All the
twice.
training, right? All the training.
Twice a week. Yeah.
And now in New Hampshire, a little bit further north, the state is building what's called a veterans center. It's going to have equine therapy. Our group, Operation Delta Dogs, is going to provide the same services we provide in Holysz up in Franklin.
Okay.
They're going to have exercise facilities, some residential facilities. It's a big thing that the state's putting together.
Amazing.
So eventually they'll have two locations.
Yeah.
But this is a highly localized operation, and some have a wider geography they can service.
Sure.
But for the most part, they're pretty local.
When you say the dogs from the South, are they all across the South that you're pulling dogs from? Are there particular kill shelters that you work with specifically? And how do the dogs wind up there to begin with?
Well, the dogs wind up in a kill shelter for the same reason they don't wind up in a kill shelter anyway. People abandon them, or they can't afford them. They just don't want them anymore.
They're
Somebody
not
gets sick.
Oh,
No.
some are sick, or they're not sick, or
No, these dogs are not sick. Although there have been, dogs come up and we have to remove buckshot from them,
Okay.
for example. And,
jeez.
so the people that run the program have worked with some of the same shelters for several years.
Okay.
The shelters know what kind of dog they're looking for. Most of these dogs are black labs.
Yeah.
Not all of them. But most of them are black labs. And they tend to be between, say, 9 months and 18 months old.
Young. Okay.
The trainers say we don't want them too smart. We don't want the dog to train
Still
the veteran.
flexible.
We want to train them together. But when I was down there just walking the dogs in the beginning, I would have taken all of these dogs home.
Oh, I bet.
Even when my kids were young, there was a pet store near where we lived, and there was a movie theater, and we'd go to the movies. They'd say, "Well, can we go look in a pet store?" I'd say, "Oh no,
Yeah. Yeah.
we're not going to look in a pet store."
Yeah. They see you coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah.
If you got a kid with you, you're walking out of there with something.
Yeah.
They tend to be from they could be from Alabama, they could be from Georgia. I don't personally have much to do with that, but they do work with the same group, year in and year out, because they do get a relationship with the people. Because even though these are kill shelters, those people down there, they're not eager to kill these dogs.
Of course.
They would place every one of them if they could, but they have constraints of space and budget and so forth. So, they again, about half of the dogs make it.
Gotcha.
As service dogs.
Service dogs. Yeah, the theme of these episodes, this one that we just watched and the one before, about the size of this issue sometimes can seem insurmountable, right? The idea of PTSD, and it's organizations like this that address a more localized, a simpler issue, which is just the issue of isolation. And to do something, to approach something that you can solve instead of trying to cure PTSD, which is still a very difficult thing to. It's such a big idea. It seems hard to figure out which angle to approach it from. But this seems like a really simple approach that seems to be working.
There are other veterans organizations in our state. Specifically, there's one associated with Easter Seals called Veterans Count. and they deal with a wide range of issues. They deal with deployed veterans whose families need something while the veterans are deployed. They try to help the veterans when they come back get employment. They deal with mental health issues, and this is a mental health issue. Full stop.
Yeah.
If there was a vaccine, we would give it to them,
Right.
but there's not.
Right.
And so, but to your very point, while that Veterans Con organization, which is a referral source for us, and we work closely with them, they are trying to deal with a more holistic approach to the veteran, and we're trying to help with one problem.
Yeah.
With one solution. Like you say, it's much more narrowly focused. And that's not to say that when a veteran, something in the veteran's life, it's 18 months, things could change.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right? Things could change. You could get divorced. You could fall in love and get married.
Yeah.
Recently, one of the veterans who was a graduate of the program decided to go back to college. He came back for training because he's going to have to sit in stadium seating. And they never had trained the dog to be able to go to a school and and then live in a dormitory.
Right.
And so it's not, I mean, when we say we're narrowly focused, we're trying to solve for one problem, but sometimes you have to provide additional services as the specific situation requires. And at any given time, we're not dealing with, 200-300 people. I think we have 16 people matched with dogs right now, 10 on the waiting list for dogs. And it cycles through. Our limitation right now is we only have so much kennel space. So we need to get some more space. Yeah. And we've just taken some space. We're taking some other space. We need more trainers. Obviously, all of that takes more funding. And, but so we can probably, go from, say, 50, 60 people a year to 120 people a year. If we can just expand the resources that we have to do it. It's not that the demand's not there.
Yeah. Sure.
And I'll just say one other point is that as a member of the board, what we think about, I think about this a lot. When a veteran calls, it used to be when this was a smaller program, somebody answers the phone and calls back, same day, next day. That's not the way with a lot of mental health programs.
Right.
Yeah.
The number of mental health professionals is not adequate to handle mental health issues in the society as a whole.
Yeah.
But now, well, yes, we still call back and we still get in touch with them. We don't necessarily have a dog for them right away or a class for them right away. And so sometimes these veterans are having to wait weeks or even a couple months before we can actually start to provide service. So as a board member, my challenge is to try to help get the resources to narrow that gap.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't ever want to think, or neither does anybody else, that between the time somebody called us and the time we were ready to provide service, something terrible happened.
Right.
So we want to narrow that gap, and we'll do the best we can to do that.
Yeah. And so if we, and I think we actually probably would like to, as a podcast, if we would like to donate to this organization, or if the people listening would like to donate, how and where can they do that?
There's a website called Operation, all one word, Operation Delta Dog, no S, just operationdeltadog.org. Yeah. And you can go on the website and you can donate as much and as often as you like.
Great.
He's like, there's no cap.
Great.
No cap. No cap. No cap.
Right on.
I love organizations like this.
Yeah, and when I'm looking forward to the second season of Paradise, and so if that comes through, I'm going to lift the cap for you.
I got you. Much obliged, sir. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I don't know what the rest of you were doing, but I'll be paying attention. I'll be paying it. Now, Mandy, I just want to mention something to you.
Here we go.
2006.
Okay.
Your career from 2006 has skyrocketed. From American Dreams.
Yeah.
Yes. With your son.
And my son was in that movie with you.
Oh, yeah.
And his career in the movies has stayed exactly where it was. since 2006.
That's
I
right.
have to be honest, working with Seth, though, that was the peak for me, professionally speaking. I mean,
my
there might not be
gosh.
anyone funnier on the planet than Seth. So
Well,
it's,
well,
yeah,
you
it
know,
was-
I'm not going to argue with you.
yeah, come on. You
Yeah.
can't argue that
Yeah.
point.
You wouldn't say the same, but you won't argue.
I won't argue.
He's a good guy.
Are you wearing this Steelers jacket for us, or
No,
is this?
he's a Steelers fan.
I'm from Pittsburgh,
Yeah.
and usually I only wear this on game day, but I wore it just for you guys.
appreciate
well,
it.
we do appreciate
representing.
I'm sweating pretty good
Yeah,
because
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not
Sorry.
for this
Sure,
time of the
sure,
year.
sure.
But I got it out of the drawer.
it.
Yeah.
Aw.
Well, thank you so much for
Thank
telling us
you
about this organization.
So much.
Yeah.
And thank you for the work that you've been doing with Operation Delta Dog, and thank you for letting everybody know, a much wider audience, all of the incredible work that is being done and how we can learn more and also donate.
And again, if you want to make a donation, you can go to operationdeltadog.org.
That's it.
And apparently there's no cap. You can donate as much as you
As
want.
much as you want.
And as often as
And
you
as
want.
as often, and as often.
as you want.
Right.
Thank you very much,
Great.
Mr.
Hey,
Myers.
thank you guys for having me. It's
Yes.
very kind of you. I really appreciate your interest in this subject, and best of luck with the podcast.
Thank you
Thank you,
so
sir.
much.
Thank you, sir.
Bye
Have
now.
a good
Take
one.
care.